The moment I opened the office door that morning, the air felt heavier than it ever had before, like the building itself was holding its breath, and there he was, my boss, a man everyone feared for his sharp suits and sharper decisions, sitting alone in the dim conference room with his head in his hands, shoulders shaking, tears dropping silently onto the polished table that usually reflected power and control. That was the moment everything I thought I knew about strength, leadership, and survival shattered, because I had never seen a man so broken yet still trying to hold the world together with trembling hands. Before the story pulls you deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when hearts collide unexpectedly, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. His name was Daniel Carter, the CEO everyone admired and whispered about, the single dad who arrived early and left late, the man who never spoke about his personal life yet wore exhaustion like a permanent shadow under his eyes. I was just Emma Lewis, a junior assistant trying to keep my job in a city that never forgave weakness. That morning, the office was unusually silent, phones barely ringing, keyboards resting, as if the entire floor sensed something fragile was unfolding behind closed doors. Daniel had missed an important board meeting, something unthinkable for a man like him, and when I went to check if he was okay, I stumbled into a truth that no spreadsheet or performance review could ever show. Daniel's life had collapsed quietly, one responsibility at a time. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him alone with a 5-year-old son named Noah, a child with bright eyes and a heart too big for such a small body. Daniel tried to be everything at once, a father, a provider, a leader, and a shield against grief, but grief does not ask permission before it takes its toll. Nights were sleepless, mornings were rushed, and somewhere between daycare drop-offs and corporate negotiations, Daniel lost himself. That morning, Noah had cried uncontrollably, clinging to his leg, begging him not to leave, and Daniel had finally cracked under the weight of being needed by everyone and understood by no one. As I stood frozen in the doorway, Daniel looked up, eyes red, face stripped of all authority, and in that moment, he was not my boss, not a CEO, not a man with power, but a single dad drowning in love and fear. He wiped his face quickly, embarrassed, but something inside him had already broken open. He tried to explain without words, his silence heavier than any confession, and then, in a moment that felt unreal, he asked me if I would be his date for the day, not for romance or appearances, but because he needed to show his son that life could still be gentle, that people could still choose to stay. That day changed everything. I took a day off work I could not afford to lose, and we stepped into a world outside deadlines and expectations. We went to a small park near Noah's school, where autumn leaves painted the ground in gold and red, and Daniel watched his son run freely, laughter breaking through weeks of tension. I saw Daniel soften with every step, his shoulders lowering, his breathing slowing, his eyes finally present in the moment. We talked about life without speaking directly, sharing glances filled with understanding, pain, and something fragile beginning to grow. Over the following weeks, Daniel struggled openly for the first time. He admitted his fears, the guilt of not being enough, the terror of raising a child alone while leading a company that demanded perfection. I struggled too, torn between professionalism and compassion, between protecting my heart and wanting to help him heal. The office noticed changes, meetings became shorter, Daniel started leaving on time, and laughter slowly returned to the hallways. Some judged him, some whispered, but others felt inspired by the quiet courage it takes to admit you are hurting. Life did not magically become easier. There were setbacks, nights when Noah had nightmares, mornings when Daniel doubted every decision he made. There were rumors at work, risks to both our careers, and moments when walking away seemed safer than staying. But something powerful had already taken root, a reminder that healing is not about fixing everything at once, but about choosing to show up, even when your hands are shaking. Daniel began therapy, rearranged his priorities, and learned to ask for help without shame. I learned that strength can look like tears on a conference table and that love can begin with empathy rather than romance. Noah started drawing pictures again, his smiles returning, his trust slowly rebuilding. The company thrived not because Daniel worked harder, but because he led with humanity, proving that vulnerability can coexist with success. As the months passed, our connection deepened naturally, not rushed, not forced, but grounded in shared healing. We became a quiet team, supporting each other through the messy process of becoming whole again. Daniel no longer hid his struggles, and I no longer underestimated my own worth. Together, we learned that sometimes the most important meetings in life happen in silence, and the most meaningful dates are the ones that save someone from feeling alone. If this story has touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that behind every strong face is a story you may never see, please take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement tells us that stories of compassion still matter in a world that often rushes past pain, and before this story ends, I have a special request for you. Please comment the word hope and share one small act of kindness you believe can change someone's life, because in the end, Daniel did not just find balance between work and fatherhood, and I did not just find purpose beyond a paycheck. We found proof that even in the most unexpected moments, when tears fall in places meant for power, life can offer a second chance, and sometimes all it takes to begin healing is someone willing to stay.